So basically this is my 99 323i. I bought this car as a parts car for my M3, same year, same color, fair green metallic. Basically the idea with this is I was going to make it a missile, except things didn't work out and I ended up doing more stuff with my M3. So basically the reason I bought this car is because it had a hardtop on it, and I ripped the hardtop off, threw that straight onto my M3, and you can see that this window and regulator is missing because I had to take that because mine went. When I first got the car, it had a full everything. It was a completely fine and running car. It just needed a few things underneath, like brakes and all that kind of stuff. I didn't really have a use for it, and I got it very cheap, which is surprising, especially because the hardtop was on it. It's an automatic, and it had, I think, about 220K on it when I got it. I haven't really driven it. I drove it a couple of places. That's about it. There's no title on the car. The guy, I got it from Rhode Island, and you don't need a title technically in Rhode Island if you have like a registration and everything, if the car was registered and stuff like that. So the kid didn't even give me a title, but I checked the VIN and everything. It's a completely fine car. I put it on Facebook to see if anybody wanted the whole thing, but nobody did. So I just decided to part it out because I have a couple of guys who need some parts, and that's basically what I'm going to do today. I'm going to pull basically the whole entire front clip off it, the radiator support, the bumper, the hood, the fenders, and yeah, that's basically it. So basically I just pretty much set everything up in the bed of my truck. Just makes it easier so I can actually get stuff instead of just throwing it all over the place. I think I'm going to start mainly with taking the hood off. I think that's probably, I'm going into this blind, by the way. I didn't even look up, like, I haven't done this much stuff with my M3. I haven't pulled the hood or the fenders or the radiator support or anything like that. So I'm kind of going into a blind. I mean, I have pulled a front bumper on these. It's very straightforward. I'm guessing everybody already knows that though. So yeah, I'm just going to start digging into this thing. Alright, so I got the hood off. The hood is very simple to take off. All it really is 4 bolts going into the hood on this hood bracket. Then you just need to take the metal clip off the hood strut, and on each side, because there's another one over here, because German things, I guess. And then basically it comes off. But I was going to say, this car is actually in fairly good condition. The hood's actually pretty good. It's all dirty right now. This car's never been cleaned since I owned it. So the only problem is really this dent, and I'm surprised nobody wanted the car. I mean, the underneath is actually clean. I thought somebody was going to want to like missile it, but nobody's hit me up, so we're just going to keep tearing it apart. So I already got this side of the headlights out. It's very simple. Basically, the corner lights just have a tab that's on the other side of this. Basically, you just push it and pull it out, and then unplug the headlight. The light, obviously. These are very odd. They're like a plastic housing, I guess, that screws into the radiator support. But basically, I just loosened the bolts and ended up pulling those out. There's a bolt right there. I don't know if you can see that right on in here. And then there's a screw right down there, and basically then the headlights just pop out once you pull the lights out. Now I'm basically going to rip the bumper off. It's very simple, just 2 bolts here, 2 bolts here once you take off the plastic black cover there. Then the other thing is you just got to make sure that it's not attached on the inner fender liner, which this one's not. So basically that'll just rip out once you undo those bolts. So I was actually wrong. There is actually 2 bolts in each side of the fascia, and then there is these 2, they're T30s, and might have to take one more thing out, but I think it's just these 2 bolts. There's 2 other bolts in the back here, and then, like I said, 2 on each side of it, and basically it'll come straight out. So it was just those few bolts, and it pulled right off. I'm now going to try see what I could do with the radiator support and the radiator. I do have to drain it. Don't know what's in it for coolant. I might take the fenders off first, just because. We'll see what we do though. So basically I've just been battling a bunch of stuff on this. There's so much to these cars. For example, like, just cut the AC line. I don't care. I don't think the guy needs it anyways. I don't think he's running AC. Got the plastic fan shroud out. That thing was a pain. Gonna take the bumper support brackets off and try and get this metal bracket off, if it will come off. I still have to drain the radiator using that little petcock right there, and then I should be able to start pulling the radiator out. I got the fan out and a bunch of other plastic little stupid things. So pulled a bunch more stuff, random stuff off. Fan shroud I actually had to cut out of there. It was already cracked and it was frail as hell, so I ended up throwing it out. Drained the radiator. Coolant actually looks pretty damn good. This must be a pretty good radiator. I mean, it looks pretty clean. So basically I just have one more. You're not going to be able to see it. There's basically a two bolts coming in, and so basically I just pulled the radiator out. Very straightforward. You just have to undo the two top bolts in that bracket on the cooler there, and two on the bottom down there. Now I'm gonna try, and so the GoPro keeps dying, so basically pull the radiator out, undo the top two bolts from here. These little clip things, you just pull them back. There's also two on the side that you just pull down there. You gotta undo the top bolts from there, the cooler, and then there's also two bolts down there on that side of the underneath the bracket, and it pops right out. Like I said, I had to break the fan shroud because it was already junk anyways, and I couldn't really. So I just took the bumper support brackets off. These bolts hold on the radiator support, and along with these two, I think they're T30s, up in each corner. And basically this will come out. All you have to do is take these two bolts out from that there, and it drops, and basically the whole entire thing will just rip out. You got to take a little couple of stuff, like gonna have to take all this stuff off, just basically unbolted. That bolt's actually stripped already because I couldn't get that out, so I'm gonna leave it on for the guy. And then also there is a wiring harness under here. Basically you just gotta push the connectors through, pull all the wiring out from these little tabs, just so you don't take that with it. And yeah, basically you just do all that and it'll come right out. So I just got the radiator support bracket off. It was just the bolts, like I said before. You kind of have to get a pry bar because there's a little bit of a spot weld, kind of almost. Just pop down on it and it comes right out. That's what it looks like here. Basically I just kind of pulled it out enough to get a pry bar behind it, and just pops that little weld, spot weld, whatever it is, right out. See those little holes for it. And now it's time for the fenders. It's just the radiator support bolt, and there's 1, 2, 3 bolts on the top here, and then there's also the hood hinge. That counts as one of them. It goes into that. There's also two. Let's see if I can show you. There's also two. You're not going to be able to see them on the inside. Oh, you can see one, the bottom one. You're going to have to open the door about halfway to be able to access the top one and the bottom one. It just makes life a lot easier. And then basically pull it out, and you can see that there's two little tabs down there at the bottom, those little green things that hold in the side skirt. And then there's also one other bolt up near the front right there, right on in there. It's a 10. They're pretty much all 10s. These up top are T30s, and then you just have to take the corner marker out and fender will come right out. So I didn't mention this, but there was also, once you get the clips off of the side skirt here, there's also two bolts that go up. They're 10 millimeters on the bottom there, very easy to take out, and then the whole fender should just kind of almost pull out. If you pull, you can see the little tab there, you just kind of gotta finagle it around and pull it out. So basically I just decided to take that other fender off and call it a night. It's getting pretty dark out. Basically just loading everything back into the truck. It's a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff, but overall it was a pretty good day. It wasn't that bad. Yeah, pretty much that's it.